first thing you need to know is notation. So for example, if I was to write an algorithm, I would, you could go R, U, R prime, U prime. But if you just saw the writing for that, you would have no idea what it means. So we'll go through all the notation. So there's R, so R is always on the right side. And so to know whether it's an R or an R prime, you can go to the right side, and if you're turning it clockwise, then it's an R, so that's R, or this is an R. And then if a apostrophe is added after it, an R prime, so then you turn it anti-clockwise. And then if a 2 is added afterwards, you turn it twice, like that. Now, you can also do, so there's a U, again, if you turn it this way, it's clockwise. And then there's U prime, which is the apostrophe afterwards. And there's also U2, which is the 2 afterwards. Then there's L, which is looks like the opposite to R, but when you turn it like this, still clockwise. So you've got L, L prime, L2. And again, prime is when there's an apostrophe after it. And you've got D, D prime, and D2, like that. There is also F, F prime, and F2. And then you've also got B, B prime, and B2. So that should be all the notation you need for to learn all the algorithms. So something else you need to know is also what part is one in the cube. So if I refer to an edge piece, it means these pieces here that have 2 colours on them. If I refer to a corner piece, it means these pieces that have 3 colours on them. And if I refer to a centre piece, it means the centre one here. So that very centre piece. So now we're going to start solving it, but this part is a bit more intuitive than other parts. So we're going to make a daisy, which we have the yellow centre there, and then we have white on these edge pieces facing up. So we find a white, so this edge piece has white, so we just move it up. This edge piece has white, so we just move it up. This edge piece has white, so we just move it in there. And then this edge piece has white, so we just move it in there. So that's the daisy. Daisy is those 4 whites and that yellow. So once we've done the daisy, what we want to do is we want to make a cross on the bottom with that white center, and we want the white edges in these positions, ones that are up here. So get one, for example, the white orange, and we move it to the orange center so that that lines up. Then we have yellow facing up, orange facing you, and we do F2. And then we go to the next one. This one is white green, so we line it up with the green center, lights up there, green facing you, yellow facing up, F2. The next one is white blue, so we go line that up, F2, and then that's already lined up, so F2. So now on the bottom you have a white cross. So now what we've got to do is we've got to fill in these corners. So if we get any corner that has white, let's go white, red, blue. Because white is up on the yellow face, turn it between the red and blue centers, and we go R, U2, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime. And that inserts that into there. But for example, if this one, because this one, the white, is not on the yellow face, so if we put it over its slot, we wouldn't be able to do the same thing. So if we have blue facing us, we have to do left prime, U prime, L. And then this one, again, the white is on the yellow face, so put it over its slot. Then go R, U2, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime. So far we've got 3 in. Now this one, again, the white is on the yellow face, so we do the same. Go R, U2, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime. So now that completely solves the white face and the whole white layer. So the next step in solving the Rubik's Cube is orientating all these edge pieces. So if we go to the yellow side, find an edge piece that has no yellow on either side. So this one has blue and yellow, so we can't use that one. This one has orange and green though, it has no yellow, so we line the orange up with the orange center. And we're trying to get it to this area over here between the orange and the green. So instead we turn it away. So F prime, D, R, middle to the right, R prime, sorry, yeah, that's R. And then you rotate it like this, L prime, D prime, middle down, and then D, middle up. So now the orange-green piece is in place. If we go back here, we search for another one. There's the red-green piece, so line red up with red. But this time it's going to this area, so what we want to do is we want to go F, D prime, L, middle to the left, L prime, move it up, and then we go R, middle, sorry, D prime, middle down, D, middle up. So now that's in there as well. So now go back to the yellow side, find another one. This time it's blue-red. So blue's already lined up with blue, and we're trying to get it to here. So again, F, D prime, L, middle to the left, L prime, move it up, R, D prime, middle down, D, middle up. And now we go back to the yellow side, but all of them have yellow, all of the edges have yellow on them. But this edge here is flipped. So what we need to do is we need to go have that orange facing us, white facing down. And then we go right, up, or U, sorry, R prime, U prime, then F prime, U prime, F. So now back to the yellow side, and that will have come out, the orange blue piece. So remove the orange to match the orange, and then because we're getting it over here, again it's F, D prime, L, middle to the left, L prime, move it up, R, D prime, middle down, D, middle up. So now you have all of this solved. On the yellow side, there are a few cases you can get after solving this. So one is a straight bar across there, like I have. One is just a plain dot. 1 is an L. So yeah, so just we will go through them one by one. So for this line, what you need to, if you get the bar across, what you need to do is you go F, R, U, R, U prime, F prime, and that will give you a cross. So you want to get a cross. If you already have that cross, which was not one of the options I said before, so I said bar, dot and L, but if you already have the cross, then you are good to go. Just skip this step. Now if you have this little L shape here, then what you want to do is you want to do this. So F, U, R, U prime, R prime, F prime. That again will give you the cross. Now if you have a dot, just a plain dot there, you don't have a bar or a little L kind of shape, what you want to do is you want to do one of them. So you want to do one of them twice. So F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. Move that to the corner because you'll get an L. Then you go F, then U, R, U prime, R prime, F prime, and again you'll get the cross. So once we have the cross, what we want to do is, if you just have a plain cross, then so there's a few options. You can get just the plain cross, you can get a cross and also 2 yellow corners, like there and there. You can get a cross and these 2 yellow corners filled in, and you can get a cross with only 1 yellow corner filled in. So what you want to do is, if you got this cross, you move it so that there is there's no yellows on that front, and then you go R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime. So then we have a cross with 1 corner filled in. So then you put the corner that's filled in the bottom left hand corner, and then you go R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime to solve the yellow side. If you get this shape with 2 corners filled in, have one of the corners in the bottom left hand corner and one of the corners in the top right hand corner, and go R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R, and then you get this shape, which is another possibility you can get. So you have this little lonely dot with the 2 unsolved corners down the bottom. You go R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime. You got the fishy, put the head in the bottom left hand corner, R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime. Got fishy again, so again put the head in the bottom left hand corner, then R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime, and that will again solve your yellow side. Now that you've solved the yellow side, you can look around the edges here. If you have no matching colours on the corners like I do, then it doesn't matter what colour's facing you, you go R prime, then F, then you go R prime again, you move your cube down, go D2, R, move your cube up, and then F prime, R prime, move your cube down, D2, R2, move your cube up to yellow, and that will give you 1 solved pair of corners. So then to solve that, you put the solved pair of corners to match their colour and put it at the back. So if it's red, you'd have orange facing you. Then you'd do the same thing again. R prime, F, R prime, rotate the cube, D2, R, rotate the cube, F prime, R prime, rotate the cube, D2, R2. Then rotate it back to the top, and that will give you all pairs, but it won't necessarily solve the layer like it has on mine. So if all your corners have been paired up and one side is solved, have that side facing away from you. If no side is solved, it doesn't matter what side is facing away from you. And you go R2, U, R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime. Now, if you still got pairs but not all solved, you do it again. Again, if you have a solved side, face it away from you. Then do R2, U, R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, U prime, R prime, U, R prime. And that should solve the cube.